you wide up beside and tell me side to side. You can say, JT, you're too much for me. I am a little bit of loneliness, a little bit of disregard, handful of complaints, but I can't help the fact that everyone can see these scars. I am what I want you to want, what I want you to feel, and it's like no matter what I do, I can't convince you to just believe this is real. So let it go, watching you turn your back, you always do. Face away and pretend that I'm not. I'll be here 'cause you're all that I got.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Top Table Talk. We are back again. Midweek fixtures last week got in the way, but we are back again with the panel to talk all things football in what has been a mad weekend of football again for all the teams. We're going to get through it all tonight. So welcome to the panel. Welcome back, Dan United, fresh off a victory. We'll get into all of that as well. We've got a new panelist tonight, and people at Loaded Mag NUFC will know Mike as well from the Unholy Trinity. But Mike, welcome to the panel. How you doing, fella?
Not too bad. I was avoiding you after the other weekend. You see, it sort of kept me head down a little bit. But I'm back to it now. Obviously, delighted to be on and delighted that Everton are flying at this moment in time.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Yeah. We will maybe rewind, Chris. Shall we rewind slightly? Maybe
that'll be your season highlight. You have a DVD out and all sorts.
Mike, they do this. I'm surprised they haven't got their fucking sunglasses on tonight.
Oh, we should have them on, actually, should we? We should.
You reminded me.
We should.
They're never too far away, Dan. They're never too far away. And of course, we've got Rich and look, Rich. Where's your sunglasses, mate? Where are your sunglasses?
I was looking for them, but
Rich isn't shameless. Rich is
I'll
just
keep
man.
I'll save myself till the end of the season and see what I'm celebrating at the end of the season.
Well, we'll start with you, Rich, because look, it was a superb game of football. Just full stop, really, at the weekend. Early kickoff, brilliant game of football to watch. And Aston Villa, last minute winner, but that for me doesn't tell the whole story. And I'll let you talk about it, Rich, just because I thought you were superb for pretty much the whole game. Other than a 10-minute spell early in the second half, I thought you were absolutely superb and fully deserving the victory against Arsenal, which propels you right into that conversation of top four. Maybe even talk of a title, but I'll let you talk about it, mate. How good was it for you as the fan watching your club do that on Saturday and obviously propel yourself up the league, mate?
Yeah, you sounded a bit like Deji then. And your club, my club. But yeah, to be fair, I messaged you last week, didn't I? And I was like, Are we doing a show? Only because I wanted to talk about Villa carrying on winning, because I knew we had such a tough next two games. You know, Brighton away. Let's not forget that one, and then Arsenal at home. And I was thinking, do you know what? If we want to come out of beating Wolves, I know it was a Midlands derby. We got the victory. It wasn't pretty. I thought, you know what? Let's celebrate that one, because I know what's coming. But I mean, the two games that we've had, the Brighton game and this Arsenal game on the weekend, have been, you know, the criticisms that Villa have faced in this kind of, are they serious, are they not, has been, well, before we played Brighton, it was, this XG bullshit was about Villa not creating good enough chances, scoring all the goals from the edge of the box, which I don't know about you boys, but if you give Premier League players space to take a touch, look up, and then pick the spot from the edge of the box, then they probably are going to score. So I didn't really understand that.
Not my lot, mate. Not my lot.
Yeah. Mbeumo's decent, mate. Mbeumo's decent. But yeah, you know, you give them that time and space, then they're going to score goals. So regardless of whether they're inside the box or outside the box, you know, that's by the by. We scored 4 goals from inside the box against Brighton. Really attacking, really good quality game. And then the next bit is, oh, well, can Villa beat, Arsenal, who are potentially walking the league? And every one of these Arsenal influencers was they wouldn't have any Villa player in their 11, which is their prerogative, but it was kind of the way it was dismissed, so-and-so against so-and-so. It's not even a competition. It's not even a competition. It's like, well, we showed you who's the better team. We showed you who's got the better midfield. We showed you who's got the better players in terms of quality and the better plan and the tactical structure and the better coach. So, yeah, it was a great performance. Really high quality football match, like you said. Both teams going for it. Both teams showing that they've got real quality. And Villa are at the top of their game at the minute. And yeah, it was deserved. I mean, don't get me wrong. As it gets to that point, you're kind of thinking, I'll be a little bit disappointed, but it's a point. It's a good point. But to end the way it had, the end the way it did, and for Villa to be actually going for it, and Arsenal to be the team that are trying to just clear it anywhere, smashing the ball in the air, looking panicked. It was a treat to watch. It was a joy to watch, and I think that win will do a lot for Villa and their mentality and how they approach the season. But it will also do a lot for other teams' mentality to go up against Arsenal, because they had this kind of invincibility or inevitability about, they'll just grind you down, they'll score goals from set pieces, you can't really get at them. But I guarantee a lot of teams will be looking to get at them now.
Rich, just quickly on that, this is the classic case, right, of an ownership, a group of players, a fan base not panicking with a manager. Start of the season, I remember being on this panel and we were like, bloody hell, Villa are really struggling here. And then it was a blip. And then you've got the manager who, again, I speak about the players buy into what ethos he's bringing in. They trust what he is trying to do. And I didn't see any panic from Villa all the way through this. If anything, what I saw was you get over this little hump and then all of a sudden the players go, yeah, we're back to it. And I actually think you watch them more than me, mate. So I only watch, bits and pieces, but I think this is the best I've ever seen you play. I think the way you're playing at the moment, you talked about Wolves and about, it's a derby. Things happen in derbies, but I just look at this Villa side and I'm like, I think they've got another gear yet, Rich. I think they've got another gear they can hit.
Well, you say, and look, Pete and Chris, and you all know, I was not happy about the way that Villa started the season. I was asking questions of the manager. I was asking questions of the players, more tuned in terms of the players. And let's not forget, we lost that game against you guys at the end of the last game of last season, which was a really poor performance. And part of the worry was the kind of what that meant, and then this transfer window and what, the players just needed to sort themselves out, get their heads out their arse and get a win, which was against Bologna, and then they could sort of build from that. And that's exactly what they've done. And it is right, the manager, I think he called out a couple of the players publicly again after Sunderland, saying that there was a lazy performance and stuff like that. But when he reflected on it, he said it was actually a good point and it actually set them up to go on. And the same with the point against Everton. Now, you look at what Everton have been able to do this season, what Sunderland have been able to do this season, it does kind of put it a bit more into context. But then they got that win and it's gone on from there. The biggest difference I've noticed about Villa this season is the mentality shift. Now, whether the defeat against you guys in the last game of the season, whether the defeat against Crystal Palace in the semi-final of the FA Cup, or if you go back a couple of years ago, the Conference League, the PSG quarter-final, whether that's kind of hardened the players, made them a little bit more resilient, I don't know. But the evidence of it is showing that we're winning games from going behind. We're going to teams like Leeds away, Brighton away, going 2-0 down against Brighton, coming back to win. We're holding on to games. We're beating teams like Wolves, where previous seasons we've drawn against Sheffield United, drawn against Ipswich, who are like propping up the bottom of the table. We've found a way to win. So that's what's telling me that the players have learned from those mistakes, learned from those experiences, and got that sort of hardness about them that wins your leagues. Ultimately, that's what wins your leagues. It's mentality that wins your leagues. Everyone's got good players, but it's mentality that wins your leagues.
Mike, I've got a question for Chris around Villa, but Mike, just really quickly, obviously, we haven't had your perspective on Aston Villa. on the panel before. But what have you made of Aston Villa this season? Obviously, from I think it was 5 games, was it, Rich, without a goal? First 5 games of the season.
Yeah, it was 4 games without a goal, 5 games without a win.
Yeah, and then obviously propelling up to where they are now. Obviously, you've played against them already this season. Like, what do you make of Villa in their particular rise? And do you see them fighting again, Champions League, or maybe more this season?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. Obviously, when they came to our place, it's Everton should have won the game, and we were probably a Martinez worldie away from a Michael Keane header from winning the game, and we would have deserved it 100%. But you look at Villa, they're settled. They've obviously had the manager there for a little while now. He's proven, he's had success. And I think stability is always the biggest thing with clubs, isn't it? When you see clubs, moving from manager to manager to manager, they're the sides who historically struggle. And when you put a bit of faith in the manager, even during the difficult times, or say difficult times, lean spells should be safe. Villa didn't start the season particularly well. Questions were asked though as he ran his course. But the players and the manager have got a mutual trust. It's obvious. I know they've invested. They've had to invest, although even in the money that's gone in, they've still had the wings clipped a little bit because of the whole PSR situation as well. But Aston Villa, there's no reason why, especially this season. You look at the league table, and you look at the sides who are in and around it at this moment in time. We look at the sides that are struggling, those that normally are in the top sort of 4 or 5 as well. There's no reason why a side like Aston Villa, and I don't mean to be sort of disparaging there, because Villa are a massive side, and they've been in the Champions League in recent seasons. They've shown they've got quality. For me, they're certainly going to be up there in the top, maybe 4, top 6. We know other sides will probably come back. It all just depends how they get through sort of the European competition, how they manage the squad, how they get on with injuries and suspensions and things like that. But the basis is more than there. The quality is more than there. And for me, they're certainly a side that are a good side to watch, and one that you'd probably say are nailed on for European football once again. But Champions League, why not? I think it's a fantastic chance this season for a few sides to get in amongst it, and Villa are definitely probably top of that list.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chris, I've been looking through Villa's squad. Obviously, they didn't get a chance to strengthen in the summer, and everyone saw that as kind of as a weak. But it was a conversation I had with Billy yesterday, and I'm looking at Villa, and they didn't really lose many players. Obviously, they lost the loan players in Rashford in a sense, but they didn't really lose too many players. They've kept their core.
Ramsey,
yeah, of course. But was more of a squad player. Would you say? Yeah. Wasn't
he was? I mean, he's very much like what he's with you guys. You see that there's a player there, but he at times flatters to deceive. And you think that when you think there's a more to come from Ramsey, or you think we should be using Ramsey, he's a little bit like on the fringes of everything. He's on the fringe of a game, or he's on the fringe of getting in the team, and that's always been the frustration with him. But yeah, I take your point. We kept a set aside.
They've kept their side. Have we sort of overlooked that, considering that's what we did last season? Have we kind of overlooked Aston Villa going into this season, and now that they're seeing the fruits of keeping that team together?
Yeah, potentially, mate. Yeah, I mean, funnily enough, yeah, I was thinking the same about Aston Villa this season, because I'll be honest, obviously given the summer they had, it was a little bit of turmoil in the sense that we knew that they didn't have the money to spend. But I did forget that that summer that we also had difficulties, and it almost feels like a bit of a mentality surge now, where Villa they've got a tight knit squad. They're all fighting together. Obviously, we know that they had a tough start to the season, but they seem to have turned that round, and now arguably the informed team in the league. Well, I say arguably, I think they are the informed team in the league. So yeah, maybe we underestimated Villa. I mean, there's still a long way to go, and we all get excited, don't we? And we all start trying to make predictions and trying to decide where teams will end up. But ultimately, I think we're 15 games into the season, so there's still 23 games to play. There's an awful long way to go, and this is why I did find it mental, the way some people were talking, saying that the league was wrapped up, and that it was Arsenal's league, and albeit Arsenal have been so close so many times, I did feel like people were talking a little bit too soon. So obviously, this Arsenal drop-off has made it more interesting. You've now got, Liverpool really, really struggling. You've got City finding a bit of form, Villa absolutely flying. So it has opened it up wide. And obviously, Mike, I'm going to give Everton a mention there as well. Everton very well. Sunderland's up there. And, I'm just hoping from a personal point of view that Newcastle get up there. But no, I think in many ways, losing Rashford and Asensio, who had such a big impact for them last season, has made the squad tighter. Yes,
sorry, Chris, there was no mention of United there, mate. In
mate.
What are we doing here, mate? What are we doing here, mate? What are we doing here?
I was wrapping it round. I was putting a little bow on. That was going to be yourselves. You know what I mean? They win last night. But no, it just shows how wide open the league is.
What I was going to say to your point, Chris, and to Dan's point before was, it was Villa fans were a bit concerned, and there's still a couple of areas where they definitely need to I don't know if it's you could say strengthen, but it's more sort of, I guess, putting a little bit of pressure on. We need probably an additional option in the striking position. We probably also need a right back, and we probably need a centre back, because if something happens to one of Konsa or Torres, then we are going into Victor Lindelof territory, or or cover, or someone sort of changing their position. So we are probably a one or two players short of it. But I think what's been so impressive is when you think that there's players who have kind of from a fan's perception, you think they've outstayed the club's outgrown them, or they might be on the wane, or they might be dwindling. I'm talking the likes of John McGinn here. I'm talking the likes of Matty Cash here. He's found another level. Like, I can't believe how good John McGinn is. Like, well, I can believe it, but you know what I mean? Like 2.5 million, captain, the over 300 games for Villa. He's still one of our main players. He's still the heartbeat of the side. And yet, every end of every season or every transfer in, it's like, you know what? I don't know if John McGinn's got it in him. I don't know if he might be the position that we need to strengthen. But yet again, he proves how good he is every single game, every single season. And then you go to the quality like Tielemans and Kamara, and Onana's finally playing as he should be. But it's those established players that you think, do you know what? Maybe we do need to upgrade on them, but they just show that they're irreplaceable.
But Rich, like you mentioned McGinn, how important is a John McGinn when you are the start of the season? Starting it's characters like McGinn who have been at that club, like they get what it is to be a Villa player. How much you pay for him? Is it like 4 million?
2.5 million.
I mean, Jesus Christ! That's got to go down as one of your signings, your best signings of.
I know our Villa legends at Everton right now, but McGinn will go down as, if he gets a trophy this season, he will go down as a bigger legend, far bigger legend than Jack. And you know how much Villa fans love Grealish, but McGinn will surpass. I mean, he'll be at Paul McGrath levels. That's how much of a legend John McGinn will be.
That's massive.
I agree with that.
The biggest compliment I can pay John McGinn is that I fucking hate him.
That's the thing. Every team hates him. Every team would love. There's no other player in the league like a John McGinn. There isn't. Like, he sticks his ass out. He does everything.
He's just annoying. Yeah, he's annoying. But Chris, me and you have the same conversation with Daz as well about Joe Linton. Or the opposition fans, they hate Joe Linton, and it's kind of for the same reason that
Tyndall, can't stand Tyndall. Yeah. I wish someone would knock one of those bloody fluorescent teeth out of his bloody.
And we love him for that reason. But it is. And look, final thing for me with regards to Villa, is it project trophy this season? Is it a case that you have to win a trophy this season? Obviously, Europa League, I think you're going to go the distance. I don't see you anything other than getting to the final, at least. Is it project potentially FA Cup? Like, is it a case that you have to win a trophy this season with all the good seasons you've had in recent years? have you now got to put a trophy in the cabinet again?
Yeah, I think so. But Europa League or league title for me, that's what I would go for.
Oh, okay.
Why wouldn't you say that though? I mean, look, we talk about there's so many clubs here. I'm one of them. You know, the United fans love to say, "Oh, if we'd have not, you know, bummed it against Mike's lot, you know, down to 10 men, if we had to drop points against West Ham, United are in third or second." I kind of think the same with Rich's lot. If they'd have started the season decently, would we be seeing like Villa neck and neck, toe to toe with Arsenal here? It's all if buts and maybes. But Rich, I literally don't think there's anything wrong with a Villa fan looking on the current form of the Premier League. Which, by the way, this Premier League, if it wasn't for the fact that clubs are so indifferent, United wouldn't be up there. We know that. You have every right. I think January, you've just got to learn from your mistakes last January in the transfer window.
That's the thing.
Go out there and get some decent players in there that are not Instagram signings, but signings that are going to add that much.
To be fair to Asensio and Rashford, though, they did coincide with the best run that we had once they settled in. And if we didn't have the goal, particularly of Asensio, during that dodgy period, sort of November to February, obviously they came in the January when it's just started to recover. Then we'd have had no chance of even having an opportunity to get to the last game of the season with a spot for the Champions League. Because I was watching the 12 man yesterday when kind of Charlie was saying there's no chance of Villa winning the league and all this sort of stuff.
Don't listen to
and
that.
Like,
this guy, man. Don't listen to it.
But I was thinking,
say anything.
I was hoping he'd be on tonight because the way Villa ended last season was champions winning form. It was 9 wins from 11 league games. Now everyone knows that Villa are a team like that. Under Emery, we've done these runs before. When he came into the club, we were 18th, and he got us to finish 7th in the Europa Conference League. Then the following season, we could have gone top of the league at Christmas when we ended up finishing 4th. So we know what Unai's like. So even if we have another dodgy spell of form, right, which I'm sure we will, I'm sure there'll be 2 or 3 games where we don't win. Even if we have that run, I guarantee you we'll have another run throughout the season where it'll be 7 wins out of 8 or 8 wins out of 9. So depending on when that is and how the other teams do and who those games are against, I'm telling you, Villa are, I said this the other day on my watch along, Villa are in the title race. I'm because of the past. They were saying our past experience tells you that they're not, but past experience to me tells me that we are. And the mentality shift in Villa tells me that we won't make those might lose games. I'm sure we will lose games, but we won't have the same drop off because of the experience that they've had already.
Well said, Rich. Well freaking said. Can you speak to Billy? Because I don't know. I was saying this last night on Positive Channel.
I was watching you.
Yeah. Like, to dismiss Villa is just pompous and Big Six arrogance. It really is. So I hope you go on and win it.
The one thing I wanted to say really quickly is that obviously on the January transfer window from last year, of course it was a risk because of the financial side. And look, me and Dan, we spent the back end of that season reminding me of that. But I loved the ambition at the same time. You went out and got those players, those high-profile players, to take on to the next level. I'll be honest, I said it last night. I want me and Chris to be celebrating us getting a couple of signings like that in January. I want us to be in that position because I like that ambition, that position of strengthening when you're at the top. Like you're in the position of power and you're strengthening when on top, and I like that. That should be the case for teams like ours. You know, pretty much everyone on this panel, because we're in a position to strengthen, whether we've got the money to or we're in the position in the Premier League to be able to do that. And I think that has to be.
Well, to be fair, you boys have had some. I'm sure we'll come on to your team in a bit, but you've had some decent form and you've had some decent results in the last 3 or 4 games. So, depending on again where you're going to be after the Christmas fixtures, you might have You might have to, because you'll need to get into that Champions League, or but at least be in contention for that Champions League position towards the back end of the season. So you might have to take that little gamble to give yourself an opportunity to go on a really good run of form.
I think you just got to just do exactly. I not many times that Wolfie and I do this on live stream, but I agree with Wolfie. Just go for it. Like this league is a weird league, and we are seeing this season that anyone can beat anyone. Have the confidence and have the chest. Fucking go for it, man.
Yeah, exactly.
But we will wait and see. Look, Villa on top. Who's your next game? Sorry, before we move on.
We've got West Ham. Well, we've got Basel in the Europa League on Thursday, which is quite an important game, to be honest, because we're on 4 wins from 5. So you win on Thursday, and that kind of pretty much guarantees the top 8, I would say. And then we've got Fenerbahce away, and then our Red Bull Salzburg at home. So yeah, it's a pretty important game. But then West Ham on the weekend. So I don't know what type of West Ham you're going to get. If it's just another one that we've got to keep going, and it's the big one the weekend after against Man United.
Well, big games are coming. I don't think it's my mic, guys. My mic's still as over.
It sounds like someone's moving their mic like that.
My brand new massage chair that I've got, but it's not. I've been told.
I was out after Friday. I can still hear it. Can you not hear it?
I think it might be Mike. Mike's Mike.
Oh, you beat me by 2 seconds there with that one.
No idea. No idea. But we're going to come to Mike. And Wolfie, you might not want to hear this, because obviously a fantastic win for Mike at the Hill Dickinson Stadium against Nottingham Forest at the weekend propels you right up the league now, and obviously in a great position. Is it 6th now in the league? You are
7th after United's win last night.
Apologies. I still had on my screen. I do this. I just hadn't updated it because obviously last night you are in 7th place. But you're up there. You're asking people the question. Just how good was that win at the weekend? And what are your thoughts now in moving into the Christmas period for Everton?
Yeah, obviously we spoke to me a couple of weeks ago before we played each other, and I came on and I said, I see us finishing anywhere between 8th and 12th, and that's the honest truth. And the league is very tight. We showed this weekend you can move up a fair few places. We were 5th for a short period before Sunday's fixtures, and obviously United dropped us down again last night. But I think the biggest issue with Everton's squad is the fact that it's small. And that's, it's testament to the way that David Moyes has done. The fact that we've had the whole season so far without our best centre half and Jared Branthwaite. We've had the last 3 games without Idrissa Gana Gueye, and we've had Timothy Bruno got suspended obviously after the Bournemouth match. And it's difficult to try and replace the quality that we've lost with such a small squad. So I think that's it's fantastic what David Moyes has done. I think that we're probably maybe slightly higher than some fans may have thought we would be at this stage of the season. We're certainly happy with where we are. Saturday's game was quite routine. I've got to be honest. I was surprised. I was a little bit concerned going into the game. Obviously, our previous home fixture against yourselves, we were terrible. We just obviously set back in the first sort of 52 seconds, set the tone for the game, and we just couldn't recover. And it was roles reversed on Saturday after the great win away at Bournemouth, and it was just a routine win. I think Forest were poor. I think we were probably about average. We didn't play. I don't think we played particularly well. It was just the kind of game that I expect Everton to win, and we did win. And we scored a few goals in the process. Tierno Barry got off the mark with his first goal, which was fantastic to see. Great reception for him. Hopefully now he can kick on. And I just think that at the moment, some fans maybe need to temper things a little bit. I still think it's going to be a season where we just want a bit of stability. But like I said earlier on in regards to Villa, it is a season where a few sides could potentially finish higher than they would be expected to. And I think we're potentially in that sort of question at this moment in time. But AFCON, will impact a lot of sides, including us. You know, Garner Gay and Jai will be off after the Chelsea game at the weekend, so it's a big impact on ourselves. So it's those kind of factors you've got to factor into a side that's got to, you know, that is a small squad. But you know, if we're in the mix as we go into January and we're floating around mid-table and we're only a few positions away from European football, I expect our owners to gamble, and I think they'll give David Moyes a few quid in the January transfer window, and we'll have a good go, because you know they see it as businessmen. They want us to be playing European football. They want both of their main two sides, should I say, in Roma and Everton, to be playing European football. So you know, we've got a chance, of course, but it's very, very early days, and I expect, you know, we will hit another sort of buffer in the season. Our form will drop at some point. But listen, we're satisfied, we're happy, we're stable, we're enjoying life. And it's even funnier, the fact that our friends that used to be across the park are in some kind of crisis, and that is absolutely hilarious as well. So we'll take where we are at this moment in time every single day of the week.
Yeah, the game was over in 1 minute, literally over in 1 minute. Forest was so shit, and we saw Dyche ball on Saturday. Mike, I don't know if that's what you saw from your perspective when you looked at Forest. Was it very what you saw with Dyche under Everton? Because that's the football I got warned about before we signed Dyche. And I saw it against Wolves. I know we won the game, but we were shocking. And then yesterday, it was just, not yesterday. When was it? Saturday. It's just aimless long balls and then aimless crosses into the box. And you just bypass our best part of our team, which is Anderson. It's just dire to watch. I didn't watch long. After 70 minutes, I started playing charades with the chat. I was so bored. The game was done after a minute. Honestly, I'd rather watch paint dry than watching this Dyche ball. It's so dead.
So the biggest surprise for me was the fact that he was bypassing your better players in midfield, and there was an insistence on going long to Igor Jesus up front against two of the best headers of a football
giants.
In the Premier League. It makes no sense. You know, Tarkowski wins pretty much everything. And Michael Keane, you know, as much as he's not the world's greatest defender, he's about 6'5". So it's like, why would you insist on doing that and cutting out, obviously, your Andersons? And we had a Forest fan on our podcast after the show, and I met him actually before the game. I was doing my Brendan from Coach Strip impression. I was taking him around the outside of Hill Dickinson Stadium and showing him all the sights and things like that. And we had a good chat before the game, and he said that he felt that Sean Dyche was getting a bit of a tune out of Gibbs White, who had started the season poorly, but then since Dyche had come in, you were starting to see a little bit more form from him. So to actually be bypassing him and Anderson and players like that was a bit of a surprise. I mean, obviously the start was perfect. You know, the way that we suffered in the previous week against Newcastle, it went the other way. Obviously, Grealish won a foul early on, yellow card, and within sort of 2 minutes we're one up. And from that moment there, we never really looked back. I never felt we were in any kind of trouble. To be honest,
at no point did I. If you just joined the game like 30 minutes into it or into the second half, you would have thought it was either 0-0 or Forest were like 7-0 up. There was no urgency at all. This isn't taking away anything from Everton, were by far the better team, more organised. You've got a really balanced team. The one you put out, I thought Jimmy Garner was brilliant. His defense was solid. I like Jake O'Brien a lot, and he's playing out of position. Exactly what you said. And this isn't like Dyche has never heard of Everton or your centre backs. He bloody coached them for 2 years. So why would he play to their strengths? This is the stupidity that I can't understand from the weekend. So he coached them literally 6 months ago. Let's just lump the balls up to them because they've forgotten how to header since he left. It's just so boring to watch. He really is. But the Forest fan base love him because he has a house in Nottingham. So
yeah, I mean, obviously, I was saying the same in terms of his connection with your football club compared to our football club. The relationship, I think, was night and day. And Sean Dyche came in, and I don't hate Sean Dyche. Sean Dyche came in the worst circumstances you're ever going to face at a football club, you know, especially in the Premier League. Everton were living month by month. Everton had no money effectively. Our sponsorship had been shut off because of the war in Ukraine previously. We obviously were trying to build the stadium. We had 2 points deductions. He was probably doing about 4 or 5 different jobs as the manager. And the pressure and the stress behind the scenes. Listen, we know about 20% of what went on at that particular time. And I take my hat off to him. And I was not surprised when he left. One, it was the right time and we weren't getting results. But two, you know, I think that those 2 years had really taken its toll on him mentally more than anything else. And he was probably mentally tired. But I don't think anyone else could have got us through that period. I've got to be totally honest. So I obviously have got a lot of admiration for him for that. But he does play a particular style. He plays a particular way. The Forest squad is better than what he had at Everton. There's better footballers at Forest. I would certainly say that. And I'm not sure whether he sometimes knows what to do with a better quality of player. It was perfect for Everton because you'd have your centre forward saying Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And you could go along to Calvert-Lewin, good in the air, got a great spring, can bring the ball down, head, chest, whatever, bring other players in. He's athletic, he had a bit of pace. You can put it behind and you can put the centre halves under pressure. And you could bypass our midfield because our midfield was just very, very sort of busy in there to try and win the ball, put tackles in, break up play, do simple things. So we weren't a specifically fantastic football side, but he had the right kind of player to play his style of football. So when you then fast forward to Forest now, you have got technical players in there, whether it be Anderson or Gibbs White, obviously the likes of your wide players in Hutchinson and Endoy and people like that. You've got that better quality of player. And I think that's where he comes unstuck, and that's where he's limited. You look at the sides he's managed in the past. Obviously, Burnley is the best example, but at Everton, you know, he didn't have the world's greatest footballers, and that sort of tells, I think, with his management style. But I mean, see how it goes. But I just can't see the Dyche Forest relationship being particularly long. And even after this season, if it even gets to the end of the season, you know what your owner's like. It might be a situation of, well, he looks to change it again. But it's one of them. He loves your football club. There's a relationship there. Obviously, the coaches were played there as well. So I get why the fans have taken to him in that respect. But time
Wolfie hasn't.
I never will. I don't keep saying even if he wins us the league, I'd sack him, and I still stand by it. I just hate this style of football. It's just so dinosaur, man. It's so honestly, it's like unexciting.
Wolfie, do you really think that, like, because obviously you're talking about dice ball and you're not liking what you're seeing, but then at the same time you're still saying that you feel that you're going to propel yourself back up the table and you're going to be
because the squad's better than the manager.
But do you genuinely think that you will propel yourself back up? I know the league's tight at the moment and anything could happen, but do you see yourself going up there if he's going to continue to play football like that? Because the way that kind of, well, both yourself and Mike have described it, like, just sounds like horrible football that it's not going to get any better.
Oh, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. I think here's the thing. I don't know if Mike could agree with me. I actually think Dyche will do better against the quote unquote big six teams because that kind of football will not suit them. And he got results at Everton. I remember you beat Arsenal at home and then you drew with them or beat them away as well. Is that kind of just ugly football, man? But I agree with Mike. I think our squad is better than the squad Dyche had under Everton last season. And everyone's kept telling us, oh, wait till this is the best squad Dyche has ever had. Wait till he unearths how he really wants to play and everything. And what I'm seeing is any of the reminiscence of Ange ball, which a lot of people cussed down, but it was attacking, and any reminiscence of Nuno ball, which were almost blended together when he started, and now fully from that Wolves game just turned into pure Dyche ball. And I don't think he can break those lower level opposition teams. My best example is when we played Sturm Graz the other week in the Europa League. Well, utter crap. And we only created a penalty, which we missed. And nothing else. It's just so boring. I love Forest and everything, but I don't want my team to have to fall asleep to them. Do you know what I'm saying? I take the piss out of Spurs with their style of play, and I've got no leg to stand on with the way Dyche is playing. I mean, this game this weekend against Spurs, do not operate heavy machinery, is all I can advise you guys, because it's going to be dire. And I hope that even if we win the Europa League, I'm sure me and Rich will argue that later on, I'd still want them to sack him. I just don't think if he wins that Europa League, they'll put a statue of him next to Cloughy, which will make me feel sick. It's just
where are you boys in the league in that?
About 16th, I think. We got a Utrecht tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? What day are we on?
Thursday. We're on Tuesday. Yes, on Thursday.
Yeah, who are like 30th. I'm not convinced he can break them down. He should do. It should be really comfortable, but I'm not convinced, man. But I think we win that game, and then that will take us on 11 or 12 points.
Right.
I think you need 12 or 13 will get you at least
the playoff. Yeah.
Yeah, I think 14 gets you automatic. So I think we still go through, but am I enjoying this football? No.
One thing on Everton, I love that midfield sort of attacking three with Grealish, Dewsbury Hall, and Day. That's just class, absolute class.
Jimmy Garner as well, Rich.
Yeah, Garner,
beautifully.
Yeah,
we didn't want to spend 15 million on him.
I think that's a separation really compared to last season. Is that now Everton, generally speaking, although we struggled over the last few years, generally speaking, we were pretty solid, defensively. Obviously under Dice, the way that he sets up anyway, that's his foundation, isn't it? But under David Moyes, that's continued. But Moyes has wanted to play a little bit more expansive football. But what those three especially give you, obviously, Ndiaye was there last season, fabulous footballer, and the summer, we know what's going to come in the summer. World Cup year as well. He's obviously there with Senegal. I expect a lot of clubs to be buzzing around come sort of July, August time. Grealish, yourself, Rich, obviously what he's all about. He's
back to the Grealish that he's more closer to the Grealish when he was at Villa than he was at the one at Man City. Like, it's like give the ball to Jack, and he's just loving it. Like, it is good to see. So good to see from a Villa fan perspective as well.
It's just enjoyment, isn't it? He's just back. He's playing regular football. He's enjoying his football. Don't get me wrong. I think he's carrying an injury. He was about 4 or 5 weeks ago when we had the international. He couldn't play against City, obviously, because he's on loan from City. And then we had the international break. So we had 3 weeks to sort of get over something. Didn't disclose what it was. I still think he is carrying something. But again, because our squad is small, there's a reliance on certain players, him and Ndiaye especially for sort of making sure or creating chances for others. It's a lot of reliance on them too. But those three, behind the striker, cause serious problems. I mean, Dewsbury Hall has been a revelation in terms of you paid 25 million quid for him. He didn't really play at Chelsea other than in the Conference League. I think they were in last year, weren't they? And he was always playing in that. But he's come in, he's got regular first team football, he does everything, and he's been playing a little bit deeper because of the suspension to Idrissa Gana Gueye, and obviously Irabunam after the Bournemouth game and what have you. So he's been playing Alcaraz as the 10 and Zoff.
I like that Alcaraz as well. I think he's a good player.
He's busy. We haven't understood this season why Bergman. We signed him on a 2-year deal, which was totally bizarre in the first place. We had him on loan last year for 6 months, and we bought him on a 2-year deal. I've never heard anything like that. But that suggests to me that potentially David Moyes was not totally convinced. But we've always liked the fact, that he's always in your face in terms of the press. He's very, very good. He goes hunting, and he set the tone, I think, on Saturday as well. To be honest with you, Beto when he came on, Barry worked really hard, and they were just hunting in packs. And Alcaraz, I think, has been a decent sign for a low fee, but he's found it hard to displace Dewsbury Hall, understandably. But we're putting Dewsbury Hall back in that number 8 and playing Alcaraz as the 10. We found another dimension again, because Dewsbury Hall technically is very, very good. He's got a good range of passing, loves a tackle. There was a moment in the second half with him and Gibbs White were just scrapping for the ball on the floor. It was bouncing out, it was coming away. And I think in the end we won a free kick, but that was proper old school football. No ground was given up. And that side of things, we love that as well as Evertonians. That's what we want to see, is players fighting for the ball.
Is Branthwaite any closer to fitness?
We're looking at the new year with Branthwaite. He was literally...
That'll improve even more, won't it, if he comes back?
Yeah, I think the beauty of the situation currently is that Michael Keane, because he's played pretty much every game bar, I think Bournemouth, obviously he missed that game and O'Brien went back into centre half. He always needs to play week in, week out, because if he doesn't, he's a confidence player and he's very much a form player. And if you bring him in now and again, he's poor and he struggles. But the fact that he's built up his form over sort of 14, 15 games, he's in good form. He's just been solid this season, really. That allows us, when Branthwaite does come back in, to just take our time, because bear in mind, he struggled with his hamstrings the last sort of 18 months or so. Now had an operation when he was back in full training. He was about to come back into the squad for the weekend game, breaks down, has to have an operation. So it gives us a little bit of time and wiggle room with him just to ease him back in. So you've got him to come back in, of course. Garner Gay's back for Saturday, but then goes off to AFCON. I wouldn't change things for Saturday. And as much as I love Garner Gay, I'll be keeping that midfielder as it is, and I'll be going with James Garner, with Hughes Bjorn, and then Alcaraz in front of them. That's what I would be doing, you know. And
you switch Michael Keane around with O'Brien,
yeah,
because O'Brien is a quality centre back, and I think he's better than Keane. I just think your issue is right back and striker.
Our issue is right back, left back, and I'd argue potentially striker.
Yeah, Barry shit, bro. I know he scored.
No, you just got to give him a chance. I mean, he can't be that bad. He scored against you.
So no, that's not hard.
You know what I mean? So
wow.
It's, I think the thing is, whenever you bring any player in from abroad, especially of a young age, they've got to be given time to settle. Everton's problem is we've been looking for a striker since Lukaku left the club. No one's has touched them. No one's been fit to lace his boots. Calvert-Lewin had one good season under Ancelotti, when obviously football was played behind closed doors. But at the time, you had the likes of James Rodriguez putting things on a plate for him. You had Richarlison. Obviously, him and Richarlison worked really well. But Barry, I'm not saying that Barry, is the next coming of the proper Ronaldo.
Crap, man. No, sorry.
Yeah, but he just what he needs though, and what we've seen, because obviously we're best placed to comment on anybody that we've seen this season. He really, really struggled. But what David Moyes was doing was he'd play Barry in 1 week, and then if he doesn't do it for say 45 minutes, an hour, take him off. Here comes Beto. Then Beto starts the week after. He doesn't do it. I would do the same with him, and it just you've got to.
Wasn't that his first shot on goal? Wasn't that his first shot on goal in the Premier League or some weird stat like that?
No, the first shot on target was the game before against Bournemouth. That was his first shot on target in the Premier League. Yeah.
I mean, that tells you everything. I know Beto's even worse, but I actually think Everton could do what Forest did last season. I said that at the end of last season because I could see what Moyes was developing. But you just need someone, even if someone can get you 10 goals up front. He just doesn't look it, and definitely not Beto either.
I don't think there's any sort of, no one's sitting there saying that probably either of them are going to be Everton's potential long-term striker. Barry's got the better chance because he's been brought in at the age of 22. He's now turned 23. He's a young kid. He's 6'4". He's athletic. He's certainly a better finisher than Beto is. So you've got a player there that you want to look to develop. Hence why we signed him on a long-term deal. So for me, judgment has got to be reserved until we see him after, say, 12, 18 months. He's come across with a young family. He's got no one over here. It can be difficult. And I've said the same about Vert at Liverpool. And now I can't stand Liverpool. But I understand that a young lad comes in. I mean, he's got a hefty price tag. The pressure on him to come in from day one and be scoring goals and assisting and contributing in the final third of the pitch is absolutely massive. Now, bear in mind that they're struggling anyway, in their terms, Crimea River. But he is obviously a quality operator, but he's massively struggling. Now, it doesn't mean that he needs to be written off, because I'm sure that he will come good. But young players can come in from obviously other countries and struggle to settle. Now, some will just not settle. And they'll either go back, obviously, I mean, he came from Villarreal, might go back to Spain because it suits him more. Moise Keane's a prime example. Came to Everton, massive reputation from Juventus, hugely struggled to settle. Language barrier, the fact his family couldn't really come over because it was obviously COVID and things like that. He goes back over to Italy where he's settling out for Fiorentina. I think he was joint top scorer in Serie A last season and is now the starting Italian number 9. So sometimes players and clubs just don't fit for whatever reason. So judgment will be reserved, I think, for Tieno Barry. We're back on him. He scored a decent goal at the weekend. You can see he's now starting to settle. And listen, if he comes out of the season with, say, 7-8 goals after where he started from, we'll take that, and then we'll see how he gets on next season. But I think Beto will most definitely go in the summer, because the Everton will look to. We definitely need a better striker. I totally agree with that. We need someone to push Tieno Barry even more. But for me, we've got to give time to younger players when they come in and make sure that we put an arm around the shoulder and say, we'll support you, and let's see where we can take them.
Have you given up on Schmitty, Mike?
Schmitty? Strange one, wasn't it, really, because he came in obviously from Sporting Lisbon the same time that we got Beto in from Udinese, and both deals just suited Everton because there was no down payment and we had no money. So Kevin Thelwell went to find anybody who could play up front, where there was no cash involved, and they were the two that came out. And Schmitty just suffered with injuries. I liked them from what I saw in terms of the sort of bit part that he played off the bench. Never scored a goal for the club. He scored in the friendly, but never scored a goal, whether it be league or cup. And obviously now David Moyes sanctioned a permanent move to Rangers, because Kevin Thelwell at the time was at Rangers. Obviously he's since been sacked. And he took him up there. We got, I think, about £8 million for him. And he's just another player that it just didn't seem to settle, didn't seem to suit. But injuries played a massive impact in his Everton career. He just spent too much time on the treatment table, didn't have the opportunity all the time to really get used to playing Premier League football. I mean, Rangers fans would probably argue that he's not doing particularly well up there either. I've not seen him since he's moved at all, but he came in, I think, with all the right attributes to probably, succeed. Again, sometimes it just doesn't work. And with the best within the world, you can do all the scouting that you want and put all the due diligence in that you want as well. But it sometimes just doesn't work. I think what I've seen of Barry so far compared to, say, Schmitty and Beto, I'm much more impressed with what I've seen of Tieno Barry. And especially for 3 or 4 weeks.
How much did you pay for Barry?
Barry was around about 27, 28, I think. So
one goal there. I don't know. I tell you what you're saying. Look, you're gonna. I mean, like I back obviously Sesko, and Sesko's got 2, but Premier League's a tough beast. I mean, you've done well to not pay as much. I think if you'd have been paying like 40 million, then I think more questions would probably be asked from your guys. I just think we've
got questions. Sorry, just on the £40 million side of things. Tyler Diblin, about 40 million quid.
Mate, they quoted us 100. Can you imagine if we'd have been stupid?
Is he injured?
No, he's fit, isn't he? He's been coming off the bench.
Yeah. Hasn't suffered any injuries at all. I think again, the noise from within the club.
I like him. Has he been shit for you?
Just not a good trainer, apparently, is what David Moyes has sort of termed it. I think that David Moyes, I mean, you know what he's all about. He's very much into, obviously, players making sure that they train how they play. So if you're not sort of putting it in on the training field, I'm not saying, by the way, he's not putting it in, but he's not showing enough in terms of how he's training. And again, the kid's 19 years of age. He's come for a decent price tag. He's come away from his home because he was at Chelsea I think as a teenager for a few months. Couldn't hack it left and went back to what he knew, and that's a bit of a problem. So I think that with Tyler Diblin, we're seeing snippets of him. We're seeing bits of quality. With NGI going to AFCON, we are going to be seeing more of him. But we've been seeing the manager bringing on Dwight McNeil over Tyler Diblin at this moment in time. But Diblin, for me, he will settle, I think, and he will go on to have a very, very good career. But at the moment, he's not really impressed. David Moyes is probably the best way to sort of term that. But big price, fans ask questions. Well, why are we spending £40 million on this kid and you're not giving him any kind of minutes and things like that? But you want Everton to build for the future. You want the manager to try and develop players. You want us to become competitive over a number of years, not just obviously this season. So you've got to invest in the future as well. It might have been a bit high, but like you were saying, they quoted yourself £100 million at the start of the summer, and we got them down in the end in and around 40 odd, which probably included add-ons and things like that. So again, it's another slow burner. But I fully expect them to get a bit more time in the second half of the season, and we see the best of them.
Mike, we had the same with Lewis Hall and Tino Livramento. I think we paid 28 million for Lewis Hall, 32 million for Livramento, and in that first season, there were questions being asked because they just weren't playing matches, and like, you know, everyone was questioning the transfers and are these really up to it, blah blah blah. And you look at it now, and there are starting fullbacks, and they probably go to the World Cup for England if they continue to play like this, and it's a completely different story. Like sometimes players do take time to settle. Sometimes players don't hit the ground running, and they need that time to settle in and get used to what it is. And the only player I don't give that grace to is Alexander Isak. But that's a different conversation. We'll move on at this point to Man United, because Man United did get their victory. Dan looks absolutely ecstatic at the fact that they got that victory. Hard-fought win against a very, very good side, Wolverhampton Wanderers. Dan United, talk to us about that victory and what it means for Manchester United, with Luke Littler in the away end of all people.
Yeah, that was the most interesting thing about the game, I think, wasn't it? It was I know, obviously, I've not seen Little Dan for so long, but I'm here to say this right now: Wolves are the worst team I've ever seen in the Premier League. That, like, if they're letting Manchester United score 4 against them, and two of the goals, man. I mean, like, I managed Sunday League, and if my boys would have done that, I'd have hit them. I mean, it was
a disgrace, wasn't it? It was a disgrace, Dan. Like, the defending, it was.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though, right? Here's the thing, and a couple of people are in the chat that were on my stream last night when I watched them, and I got told off a little bit by my fans, my community. Sorry, not my fans, my community, because here's the thing: I couldn't get excited after that performance last night. I couldn't bring myself to celebrate the goals last night, because I know, and I think everybody on this panel knows, that Manchester United have not turned a corner by beating Wolves 4-1. There's no corner turned, because we need to remember West Ham. We need to remember Everton. Okay. It's not good enough, and the manager will be buzzing about that. The manager who, when Wolves went 1-1, I went, hang on a second, half time. There might be questions here. Now, I've checked out with the manager. Everyone knows that. I checked out with the manager weeks ago. I think we've got a manager who cannot make substitutions. Last night against Wolves, we're 3-1 up at this point. He brings on 2 defenders, and I'm like, what are we doing here? This is a team that, if you're playing this team, if Wolfie's boys are playing this team, even with Dice, if Rich's team are playing this team at the way they were playing, if Mike's team, if Pete's team, if anybody else is playing, you put more attackers on and you go for it, and you really you help your goal difference, and you really hurt this team. Now, I don't like what I saw from United last night. I think it was more a case of Wolves gifted them every opportunity. I'm hearing people saying Bruno's back. I'm hearing people say Mason Mount in the England squad. I'm hearing people say, yeah, that's what I'm hearing. And, Aiden...
What they were talking on Sky Sports News just before I came on here, that they were talking about can Mason Mount force his way back in the England squad? I mean,
Jesus Christ,
this is the Man United that we know and love on the media.
You know what, Rich? I don't even think it's to Man United.
It's not Dan. It's not Dan.
It's just toxic bias in the media.
Yeah,
a team has one good game, and a player that used to be half decent a few years ago scores one goal and has a decent game, and all of a sudden it's England again. You got other players that have to fight tooth and nail. You have to have an amazing 18 months to just get called at once. I just find it.
I agree. Mainu's probably going to get 3 games in a row and going to start saying Mainu back for England. Yeah. Where you got someone like Jimmy Garner, who's been really consistent for Everton, and he's just about starting to be spoken about. It's just
the difference. The difference is, I mean, look, the media are the media. Tuchel, I think, is too long in the tooth to do that. I think we've got a manager in England that won't. He doesn't bow down to that bullshit.
No,
he doesn't. And I think he's already sent the feelers out that Mount would be nowhere near. And look, don't get me wrong, Mount has had a couple of really bad seasons at United, and this season, staying a bit fitter, has looked okay. He's brought bits into it, so I'm happy with him. But my main anger last night was the manager with Kobe Mainoo, and I said this on my stream, and I'll say it again now. At this point, it's pure and utter bullying from the manager. This manager will not play Kobe Mainoo for one reason, because if Kobe Mainoo comes on, does well, then all of his credibility of what he's done. Yeah.
Well, he was really touchy in a press conference. I was listening to TalkSport yesterday, and he was really touchy about being asked about Mainoo. And I think credit to the journalist, because he asked him like directly about why don't you play Mainoo and why don't you play any of the lads from the academy? Do you not understand the history of United with academy players? And he was like, he started getting really touchy about it.
Do you know what though? This is and this goes back to the ownership, and yeah, we'll go back to the ownership, because it is when your owner or sporting owner comes out and says, we ain't sacking him, he's going to be here for the next 3 years, we've got a 3-year plan where we're going to win the Premier. Any manager who hears that is going to become arrogant and is not going to give a flying of what anybody says. I think Amorim had a shock against West Ham, because that was the first time I really heard the boos, the fans lost it. I hear people say, "Oh, we're getting players into his system and it'll all be okay." It won't. It just won't. This manager can't make substitutions. Against Wolfie's lot, we scummed it with a goal at the end. Against Rich, you'll tear us apart, because when it comes to you, we'll have no Brian, we'll have no Ahmad, we'll have no Mazraoui. Ahmad's not been classed by any means this season, but he can do something. Mazraoui is considered. I like Mazraoui. Now, against they're all AFCON, yeah. They're all AFCON, yeah.
They won't be there when we come to you, boys.
Nope.
Why were you worried anyway, Pete?
Well,
what are you on about? You should ask me why I'm worried about Pete's lot.
That's what I'm saying. Why is Pete worried if they got Mazraoui or whatever?
It's Brian and Brummer.
He did nothing against us.
He's been poor the last month, but I think
he's got one eye on AFCON, Danny boy.
No, I don't think it's even that, mate. I think he's playing in a system that doesn't work for him, and he's having to chase the ball around like a headless chicken. Against Everton, Michael attests to this. Brian, do you know what Everton did so well against United, even down to 10 men, is what they did every time. Everyone knows how United play. We get the ball and we go all the way to the right, and if we don't get anything at the right, we turn around and we go all the way to the left, and that's all we do. The second the ball went anywhere near the two areas for the left back or the right back, they trebled up on them. They just trebled up. They didn't need anything else. Jack Grealish, I've never seen Jack Grealish put such a shift in defensively, because they knew all they had to do to quell us was do that. And as a manager, I watched us at half-time, coming off the pitch at half-time last night, and I thought, I don't think this manager has a Scooby what to do to try and change this. We have no plan B, no plan C. We have a manager who is so arrogant in his morals. He won't change the system just simply because he knows if it works, then he'll lose again, like the Mainoo thing credibility. And so I can't get gassed for last night. And look, you all know, especially Pete and Wolfie, you all know how shameless I can get. I can get shameless, but I made this whole monologue. Right, sorry?
Like you are now.
Is it? What am I saying?
I don't know, just your face.
The other thing is that you write about the way that they play, because of course you got away with it yesterday because Wolves are just so bad. But like, if you look at the space that you afforded Wolves in that, even in that first half, to attack at will, if they had a little bit more quality, they would have probably scored more goals.
Every time what they do is they allowed Mazraoui to go up and Luke Shaw to go up.
And they one ball behind, one ball.
And I just look again, and here's the thing, and I thought, oh heaven, you snaky little shit. Because he made a comment after the game. He said, "Oh, this is what happens. The manager believes in me and he puts the faith in me, and I've waited. And I thought, is that a dig at Mainoo, you little shit? Because let's not beat around the bush. Mainoo would do well at any of your clubs. He would. He would go to your clubs. He'd work hard. He'd get in there. And I think no. Look, Wolfie, I'm not saying he's better than Anderson. I'm not. What I'm saying is he'd go to your club and he would add something because he'd work hard to do it. At my club, he's stuck behind a midfield that has a combined age of 65 years old that the manager won't move away from because in his eyes, they're doing a good job. Like I just think for me now, at this point with Mainu, I'll be honest with you, if I saw Amarim in the street, I'd belt him across the head.
He looks depressed, man. He looks depressed. Like when he was on yesterday, he looks just like, you know, he just looks horrible for the kid. Like he just
why not bring him on in the 60th minute when he brings the two defenders on? I lost my head because I was like, in a game against Wolves, who at this point they were running around like they were blindfolded. Why wouldn't you give the lad some minutes? Do you know what I mean? Why wouldn't you give the lad some minutes?
But the reason you just said, Dan, is that actually if he comes on and plays well and nicks himself a goal, it goes against everything he's trying to do at the moment. It's clear that you don't fancy him. He wants him gone.
Maybe
one of two things will happen. One or two things will happen, right? Either in January, he will do the ultimate cruel thing, which is say, you ain't going anywhere because I need it with AFCON. Or he will go on loan, and I guarantee we will start seeing Mainu, man of the match, Mainu, quality, Mainu. And that's the problem I have here. And my issue is now, we keep this manager, which we will. He ain't going anywhere now this season. He won't. Even if we get knocked out in the FA Cup, which we probably will against Brighton in the third round, meaning we have no cup competitions, we will spend money on this manager. And I guarantee it, and I wish United fans would listen to me with this, I guarantee in 12 months' time, this is what United fans will say. Oh, but we need a right wing back and we need a striker to do this. Once we've got these players, then the system will work. And then it doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. The best managers, if something's not working, they will absolutely change the formation because they know it's not. He just won't. So it's and you know the thing that God, I can't believe I'm saying this, but what really fucks me off is that we are sixth in the table. How are we sixth in the table? How?
Dan, I got three questions for you.
Go for it. Fire away.
I'm gonna fire them at you and just like fire back. Is he worse than Ten Hag? Question one. Question two. Yes.
Yes, Ten Hag won trophies.
Bro, you hated Ten Hag.
Yes, hang on, mate. Did you not just hear I said I wanted to hit him in the face?
Yeah, but you also told me you'd slap Ten Hag as well, man.
Yeah, do you know what I'd do with Ten Hag now? I'd slap his little bald head and say, "Come back and just finish the season for us, mate. Just come back, just for now, come back."
All right, question two. I just had this idea, and I don't like it, but I might kind of like it if he is going to leave. Anderson with a part swap deal for Mainu. Could you see that happening in the summer?
No, because I tell you what I think will happen. This is the only thing I'm hanging on to. I think Baleba. The only thing that could happen if Baleba was to come in January would be Baleba with Mainu on loan. That's the only thing I could think happening. We ain't getting Anderson, bro. Let's talk reality.
According to your mate Goldbridge, you are, mate.
Oh yeah, but mate, this is the same. Oh God, this is just. Hey mate, it's your mate. You were on his show, not me, mate.
Oh yeah, he hasn't forgiven me for that.
Imagine me.
I got the silent treatment from Dan for 2 weeks.
Mate, he's going City. Yeah, he's going City. What's your next question?
Can you sing us another song like you did on Friday?
Next question.
That was it.
Good times. Look,
I loved you on Friday. I just gotta say it, mate. You were so much fun.
Good win though, Dan. I mean, you sound like you lost. That was the best rant I've ever heard from a team that won 4-1.
Rich. Okay, no, can you right? So imagine your faces if I'd have come on tonight and gone, fucking beat them 4-1. Look at us. You know it would be
the Wolves are so bad. They're so bad. We were messaging they wouldn't get mid-table in the Championship with the side they've got.
Yeah, but you know what's so bad? What's so bad? Do you know their last goal in the Premier League was the 26th of October, and United went in at halftime 1 apiece, and their back line. That I was watching because it was when me and Pete were on Potts' channel, so I had it on in the background. When you look at their back line, it was like this. It was zigzaggy. It was never straight. You had like the left back playing on 5 yards behind the rest of the line. And I was like, what the hell is this team organization, man? It's so bad. I don't see it with my under 15s.
Well, Sam Johnston said there was, I think it was the second or the third goal, the one where Brian just tapped it in. And Nat Mosquera was saying something to Sam Johnson. You could lip read him saying, "Yeah, but you've got to win the ball, mate." So whatever he said about, he must have said, "I went to press" or something like that. And he's like, "Yeah, but you've got to win the ball."
And that's
It's just basic.
That
Do you know what I
first
said
goal was
last
a
night?
clown show.
I will be shameless in saying this now. I don't care.
Oh,
I would have sacked him weeks ago, and I would just fucking bring Ollie back for the rest of the season. I would.
wow.
I've got no problems in saying that, because at least with Ollie, what we did do was progressive, quick-paced football. With this, it's like watching an old woman going up the escalator the wrong way. The poor old dear is just stood there. She's just doing this, not getting anywhere anytime fast. And that is Manchester United in a nutshell. In a nutshell.
Dan, I can offer you someone who bought a house in Nottingham, who played 0 games for Forest, even though you would think he played there for 30 years. Shaven head, ginger, and has a real sexy husky voice.
What, Pete?
Yeah.
You had a husky voice about 2:30 in the morning in Pop World, mate. I tell you.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe you went there without me. That bit, man. That cut deep.
Do you want to tell the Spice Girl story, Dan, or we'd leave that for another time?
Yeah, no, Danielle's downstairs, mate. Absolutely not.
Okay. We'll move on.
Oh, you mean the wannabe? Yeah.
Newcastle United. We'll finish on this one, lads, before we wrap. Newcastle United. Also got Leverkusen in the Champions League tomorrow. Massive game, still in the chance to get automatic qualification, and then the big one on Sunday against Sunderland. Massive game. My question to you, well, I'll start with you, Chris, and then let it out to the panel. Do we go full strength tomorrow with still a chance in the Champions League, or do we save 1 or 2 for the game on Sunday? If you had the choice, without giving any of the lineup away for away days, what would you do?
Personally, I would treat them both equally. I think we need to go strong for both, because obviously, you know, we need to get another 3 points in the Champions League. You know, we put ourselves in a really good position. Obviously, the disappointing results against Marseille, where we went 1-0 up and then subsequently went 2-1 down and didn't end up getting any points from the game when we deserved them. We won't talk about the Pope shocker. But yeah, I think they're both of equal importance. Obviously, it's important now. You know, we've got 10 points out of the last 12, and with, you know, big results against City, Everton. So, you know, we need to keep that league form going as well. So, in my opinion, I would play as strong a team as possible. That doesn't necessarily mean playing the exact same 11 for both games, because I think there's different players who will bring different things to each game. I think, like, for example, I think Joe Linton has to play in the derby. Would I play him against Leverkusen knowing he's going to play in the derby? Arguably not. That's
Chris, can I ask you a question? Sorry, just a quick one. So Champions League, obviously, indifferent in the league. We know that. A massive win tomorrow. Leverkusen have had a decent season, to be fair, considering where they started. What would you take away from that?
In terms of what?
If you a proper performance absolutely demolished them, what would you take away from that? I mean, look, at the moment, sometimes I think Newcastle can be accused of sitting there essentially and watching the season pass. But I think what would you take away from that?
I the biggest thing for me, Dan, would just be the fact that obviously we've got 4 decent results in the league, so then it would be that would then make it 5 decent results. I wouldn't necessarily think that because, you know, we went to Leverkusen and absolutely smashed them, I wouldn't then think, oh, we've turned a corner as in that game individually. I would more take from the fact that we've got the 5 decent results. So I'd see it as, you know, keeping that momentum going. But
what about you know, the striker? I can't say his name. Walter
Voldemort.
You know, Voldemort. Your wingers now. Your wingers much literally now their job must be to put it on a plate for him. Yeah, and just eat. Just eat. That's all he needs to do. Put it on a plate and just eat. Is that what we're missing?
Baltimore's been an unusual one because he's a completely different type of striker to the one that we previously had, and do my best not to name him. So we have had to learn to adapt to play with him. What's interesting, Dan, is that I don't know if you saw it, but Johan Visser made his first appearance for Newcastle at the weekend against Burnley. Now, again, he is probably the most like our previous striker, but again, he's completely different to Nick Baltimore. Whilst Nick Baltimore is in the team, and I don't necessarily envisage them both playing together, we've just got to make sure that we keep getting the ball in the box, because I felt really sorry for Nick Baltimore at the start, because I felt like we weren't playing to his strengths, not just in the fact that he comes deep and he operates as like a false 9 or a 10, but also the fact that he wasn't getting the opportunities. The wingers weren't doing enough.
Has he integrated with the wingers now? Would you say? I mean, pretty much family, like the in-laws. Would you say?
Yeah.
Chris, I can't help it, mate. I've literally just
People won't know this are watching the show, but Chris put a message in our private chat that it needs to go because their takeaways are right. Dan,
that was a fantastic takeaway.
He's done his best work to say takeaway as many times as possible and get the in-laws in it.
I didn't even get onto it. As soon as you said in-laws, I was like, yeah, I'm on it now. I didn't even get onto it. Because when you said I was like, what do you mean by that? What are you getting at?
Put on a plate for him and just eat. Oh, I love it.
I had to go off camera.
You go, because I know you
I need to watch that
mate.
back. I'm going to have to watch that back. I'm thinking it's dead serious. I'll be best to answer your questions.
That was hilarious.
Love you, Chris. Love you, Chris.
And Chris gave some great answers as well.
I was trying not to. He was like, when I said, "Oh, they put it on a plate like just eat," he was like, "Oh yeah, the thing is, the wind, you know."
What would you say?
Oh, that was brilliant.
Go and get a pizza reaction, Chris. Go and get a pizza reaction.
Go on, fella.
Really?
Catch you in a bit, Chris.
I'm going to leave after that, definitely.
See you later, fella.
Take care.
See you later. Oh.
Did you clock on, Pete, before I told you?
What?
Did you cotton on before I told you?
It was the just eat or eat on a plate. It was at that point I was like, hold on, something's going on here.
I messaged Wolfie. I said, let's try and keep Chris from his takeaway.
That was hilarious. But look, they're two massive games for Newcastle. I think they're potentially season defining, because if we win against Leverkusen, we're in a great shot with PSV at home next. After that, we're in a great shot at getting automatic.
How many points have you got now?
We've got 9 at the moment. So
Leverkusen got a win in their last game, didn't they, in the Champions League?
I think
there's a weakened team.
Yeah, I think they're like a point or 2 behind us, so they will go above us with a win. But yeah, they did beat Man City, but as Wolf just said, I think Man City made something like 8 or 9 changes.
10 changes, yeah.
So it wasn't like a true reflection of their team, but they got.
You can't take away anything from it, Rich.
And they're not playing well. Hey. Absolutely. But what are you guys thinking about the derby then? It's at the Stadium of Light. Is it a must win for Newcastle? Do Newcastle have to win that game? Is it wrong to think that we're just going to go there and win again?
Who have you got after Sunderland?
Well, a couple of days after, we have the quarterfinals of the Carabao at home to Fulham.
League game. Home to Chelsea.
Yeah.
You probably, I think a point would be a decent result.
I agree,
but I do actually think you win. Like I think Sunderland just maybe dropping off a tiny. There's probably a little bit of signs that they're dropping off a tiny bit. Sorry,
will they have lost their players by then?
No, they go after the game.
No.
Okay. I think they lose like 6 of them after the game.
I think they lose about 16, mate. Their squad is like proper.
Yeah.
AFCON.
Who's played Sunderland on this panel?
Villa.
So you've all played them. Like what like from an outsider and a person that absolutely despises them, like what are they like at the team? What are their weaknesses? What are their strengths? Like what have you
is their biggest strength. The
keeper's good. Their
ridiculous.
physicality,
keeper's quality,
their pace to get the ball forward.
They're a unit as well. They're
a good unit. Jack has been.
They don't panic going a goal down either. And they've got a manager there if they are losing. Against us, they went 2-0 down. He made a change in like the 35th minute. He was like, no,
proactive changes, yeah. I mean, Jack has been I'll say it, he's been pound for pound the best signing of the season. I don't think there's many. I know Tiao has been a great signing, and that I know that. But like to go into Sunderland and do what he's done is absolutely brilliant. And then I think the couple of games before this last one that they've lost, because they got a good draw, didn't they, before they lost to City? Who did they draw against? Liverpool. And they should have won, really. But Lafay was starting to play well. He's a good footballer.
Who's the man? Rich? Is it Rondola or something like that?
Reynaldo or something.
Reynaldo. He's a bloody beast. He is. He's a unit.
Yeah.
Also, the Mukulele is very good.
Yeah.
I used to have him on FIFA as a right back.
They're just brutes. They're just brutes. They're very physical, very fast. Get the ball forward quick, and they're good technically as well.
I don't think they were good technically. They kind of, you got to remember, I played them with Ange, right? So I can't give you like an exact science onto how football should have been played. We bombarded them. But that keeper was just on fire, man. And he had been on fire. It wasn't a one-off. He's been like that all season. And what's the centre-back called? Bullard, isn't it? The ex...
Ballard, yeah.
Ballard, yeah.
Wherever he is, yeah. He was good as well. So I think the game, if it gets emotional, suits Sunderland more than you. Yeah. I think you guys need to take...
Weaknesses are probably that. They're not... You know, their striker, they're obviously goals. They don't score a hell of a lot of goals. So, you know, they're good forwards, but they're not top class forwards. I do like that Isidore, but they're not top class. And then there's probably a bit of naivety with them as well. Like they had a player sent off against Villa. So there's probably some of that kind of naivety with regards to, you know, if you can impose the Premier League quality game on them, then don't forget they were in the Championship last season, so there's probably a bit of naivety with them. But look at the results that they've had. Look at some of the wins that they've had. Like they're a good side.
It'd be a big factor. I mean, we went there, Everton for 45 minutes. We're by far the better team. Should have been 3 or 4-0, you know. And then Everton then fell apart literally within 30 seconds of the second half starting. The biggest factor there at the weekend will be atmosphere. They haven't played you in the Premier League for God knows how long. So it's going to be white hot. It's going to be overly emotional. And I sort of we obviously have the Merseyside derby and what have you. We've had a couple of crackers in the last couple of years. But I was discussing today when we played Man United, the first game after the international break when Everton had lost 10 points at Goodison Park, and it was absolutely vile, the atmosphere. I'm going to say vile. I mean, like, it was unbelievable for us as an atmosphere, but it was too much. It was almost like everyone was over the edge. They weren't on the edge, they were over the edge. It was absolutely hideous. It must have been hideous for the officials, for United, etc., etc. But sometimes when you go over the edge, and I think some of the fans could be like that this weekend because they've been waiting for this for how many years, that can work in your favour. And if you silence them quickly, if you silence them in the first 10 or 15, but look at the goal guy Nacho scored against us, that overhead kick, that was that game early. The whole atmosphere, just literally, you could hear pins off because you've gone from up there, ready to fight the world, to, he 1-0 downside, 10 minutes or whatever it might be, but you know, goal of the century or something like that. Now, quite easily, that can happen, and it can just be too much. And if you then score an early goal, it could finish 2-3-4, and that's what might not go in their favour. But
they could also get a player sent off. Like they put some big challenges in, and someone one of their players could lose their head or something like that. So that's an area where you could probably, utilize that Premier League experience. Fabian Schär can wind someone up or something like that, like he did with John Duran last season. You could do something like that, and but I do think that you guys will get the result, but I don't think a draw would be a bad result at all.
Can I ask why, Rich? Can I ask why you why? Because Pete, no slight at you, but Sunderland have been good this season. They've picked up points against good side. I actually think the pressure is heavily on Newcastle in this game. Newcastle have been indifferent. Newcastle have got a midweek game. I think it's I think Pete surely will agree with that. I think the pressure's on Newcastle in this game.
I think yeah. In terms of where we want to be this season, I think there's pressure on us to get the win. I think there would have been less pressure on us if we'd have been able to see out the game against Spurs and would have been sitting on 12 out of 12. I think there'd be less pressure there. But it's at the Stadium of Light and it's at their ground. And we beat them there last time and we humbled them there last time. And I think they're going to be bang up for it. And I think they're going to expect their players.
When was last time?
FA Cup.
In the FA Cup.
Oh, come on, Pete.
I know.
No. What I'm saying to it is that there was a lot to that game. The fact that they gave Newcastle the whole stand, the fact that they inside this stand in the concourse, they decorated it with black and white for us, which their fans went mad about. They properly kicked off like everything that could have gone against.
Who hates them more? Who hates them more?
What do you mean?
As in, do you hate them or do they hate you more?
I think it's equal. If you ask,
I have to bounce because I've got my stream in literally 30 seconds. I've lost time there.
We'll send the viewers over to you, mate. So don't worry.
Yeah, Danny boy.
Joy boys, love.
But I think it's a case of we hate each other equally. I think it's just that there's just a mutual hatred. I think would you say, Mike, it was the same with Everton and Liverpool? There's just like a mutual sort of hatred between both.
Yeah, I mean they'll pretend that they hate United more than they hate us, and that's also nonsense. Every single time we play, I know obviously by comments that we get on our posts and things like that, they've got an obsession with Everton, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what they can't handle. For me, I don't care about them. It's funny, it's at the moment it's funny. It's dead funny at the moment because they're losing their minds, and I think walk them out of our shoes. Do you know what I mean? And see how you get on, because they just can't deal with not being at the top of the tree, not being spoke about in a positive way and things like that. So for me, it's like I say it all the time because we get asked whatever you sort of I'm going on local radio tomorrow and they'll come up and things like that, and you go on whatever. And they always ask about Liverpool, and I just feel like saying, I'm not interested in Liverpool. I care about us and what we do. When they come to our place, I can't stand them. When I go to their place, I can't stand them. I want to win a game of football. But for me, there's a mutual hatred there, of course, but they will always pretend that they hate United more than they hate us. They always say that. But local derbies, I mean, I hate our derby. I hate it. There's no enjoyment in it, is there? You sit there for 90 minutes. 95% of the time we're probably getting beat. So it's never enjoyable. But there's almost too much in it for me. You just can't enjoy it. And I think, you'll see this weekend, I think someone put in the chat there, it's been 9 years since you played them in a league derby. It's a long wait. That for both sets.
Yeah.
Both sets
you won't enjoy it. You won't enjoy it, like Mike says. You won't enjoy it, will you?
Now, I'm not looking forward to it because I'm so desperate to win. And that makes it just not enjoyable at all. We want to win, obviously, to get the 3 points to move up the league, but equally just want to absolutely just pummel them into the ground. And the added incentive is that if we win, we go above them in the league.
Well, that's it. That's another point where I thought you guys have got that added incentive to kind of go above them after such a great season for Sunderland, which it still will be because no one expected them to be anywhere near where they are right now. But then for such a poor season from a Newcastle perspective to then sort of be able to leapfrog them, it kind of, again, gives the players that extra bit of motivation to sort of get that done. So, yeah, I just got the impression that they didn't beat Liverpool. Fair enough. It's still a good result drawing at Anfield. Then they got Man City away. They kind of got comfortably beaten there. I get the impression that they're just maybe sliding off a little bit. That was just my impression. And you guys have just started to pick up form. You got the last minute draw against Tottenham, but still, whatever. You backed it up with a win over Burnley. So 10 points from 4 games is pretty good form. Like, is very good form. So you're kind of back on now. If you get beaten off,
Wolfie.
10 points. Not many teams win games in a row.
We're 1 point behind Newcastle and often we've been crap. And when you look at some of the teams Newcastle have beaten, I still.
Wolfie, don't ruin it, man. Wolfie, Rich has just set this up nicely.
I'm just bringing some objectivity into it, bro. It's not been a good season so far. I would look at Newcastle and think you should not be where you are, just same as my club.
But but
it can change very quickly.
If you do get beat tomorrow, like the only thing I would say is you haven't done well after the Champions League games, have you? That's been an issue. The matches after the Champions League, you haven't done great.
Yeah, that's when you lost to West Ham, wasn't it?
Not always. Not always that we've dropped off.
It's Palace, I think that's that, Rich. It's Palace. They've not won a game after the European.
I think
you did well against Marseille. You beat after you lost to Marseille. You beat Everton, but I'm pretty sure you've had a couple of poor results after. I mean, you guys know better than me.
She knows this random.
We've won a few after Champions League. I think it was there might have been.
Oh, you lost to Brentford. You lost to Brentford after Atletico. Yeah.
I just think
fair enough.
Look, I'm not trying to bring a downer on this because I'll add my club into it. Our 3 clubs last season were, holding hands pretty much. I know you started slow, Pete. Like this time last year, I think you were around 12, 13. But then
we got more points last year. Sorry, we've got more points this year at the same stage.
This is what I'm saying, but I'm talking about where we finished. Our 3 clubs were meant to be the 3 clubs that were pushing and putting the pressure on the Cartel 6 to do it. And right now, my club and your club have shit the bed, and Rich is the only one who's showing face here. And let's not forget, Rich didn't score a goal in the first 4 or 5 games and was 19th. So you can look at all 3 clubs and say we should be better off than we are now by a country mile, especially our 2 clubs. And I'm sure Rich would say in those first 4 or 5 games, whatever it was, Rich, if your club played better, you might be top of the league right now. Do you know what I mean? So there's always going to be flaws in seasons and what have you. But Forest and Newcastle are not doing as well as they should be doing this season. And that's just an objective look at it.
3 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss after Champions League. So you've actually done pretty well.
Yeah.
Forget my point.
Yeah, we're doing okay, and hopefully it'll be 4 wins after that. Look, if we'd have held on for Tottenham, the Tottenham win against Tottenham would have been in 6th or 7th.
But you didn't, Pete. And if you don't win this game, you could drop. I'm just looking.
I know, but as you said, and I'll kind of like finish on this with regards to Newcastle. As you've said, it's a long season. And there are still a lot of games to play, and we're now building back up. We've got Johan Wieser back in the team. We're now getting pretty much close to a full strength squad to choose from. We're now in a position where the team's settling, and we're looking better. These last few games that we've played, when we beat Man City, Everton, etc., we have looked better. We've looked more controlled as a team, and that fills them with confidence. So. It is up for grabs, lots of points to play for, but we'll wait and see.
Can I ask, because it's dead important? Obviously, we spoke about goalkeepers when I was on the show the other week, and I've kept a close eye on Ramsdale, and we never threatened Ramsdale at all, and that was the disappointing thing. But when I said to you, when he dives, he's the only goalkeeper that makes himself smaller. I've seen it already against Tottenham. And do you see what I mean when I say that? So when he dived, it's like the Romero goal, the first one.
The first one, yeah, I noticed.
He made himself smaller because he wasn't even anywhere near the corner. When he dived for the ball, and that's what I mean about Ramsdale. When I was, and I know people think I was sort of joking about it, but I think Pope is a much better goalkeeper. I always have done. And I'm starting to see with Ramsdale, even early days, but with him starting for you, he'll cost you. And that's where I think that's a big factor for you this season, is the whole goalkeeper situation. I know someone saying about Pickford there in the comments. We all know Jordan Pickford's the best goalkeeper in this country. We know that. And as I said in the show the other week, every goalkeeper makes mistakes. He did for your goal, for Mari's goal. It's a Jordan Pickford mistake, because Tarkowski gets in the way as per usual. But Pickford will be fearing about what he did, and obviously the ball goes in. But when goalkeepers cock up, it leads to a goal, and that's why it's so magnified and highlighted. And Martinez does it for Villa. He's a very good goalkeeper, makes mistakes. And you just
Ramsdale's arms are too short. They're like T-Rex arms, man. That's
Pickford. That's Pickford.
No, it's Ramsdale, bro. I've seen so many of him where he's just messed up with that. Hasn't he been relegated like 2 or 3 times as well?
Yeah, not with it though.
Yeah.
Huh?
He's also played Champions League and got team of the season.
Did
So
he win
people don't remember that either.
Because he wasn't memorable. He wasn't memorable. That's the thing. I don't rate him. I'm not saying he's a complete dud. I'm just saying,
No, I'm saying that because I think he'll cost you this season. I think if he persists with them over a prolonged period, and I don't think he will. I think soon he'll be pulled out, because he will cost you goals. And you against Tottenham, I'd argue the second one, or was it 2-0 to finish?
Yeah, the slow motion overhead kick that just dribbles into the corner.
You've got to question the goalkeeper again for that one.
Well, I question the 2 centre backs because they just watched it literally roll.
They all did. It was just he could have sat down, put the kettle on, let it boil, put the tea bag in the cup, put the hot water in the cup, let that just settle and brew, put some milk in, and still had time to get land on the ball. And that's what I'm saying. And it's a bit of a laugh and a joke, but he's just nowhere near the level that if you want to kick on and be, I think, regular Champions League, we discussed, didn't we, about having a goalkeeper who's good with his feet, but then also a good goalkeeper, which is the most important thing. You can be great with your feet, but if you can't stop a ball, it's a waste of time. And that's the thing where Newcastle, I think, need to really, really address. So let's see what happens at the weekend against Sunderland. But I always like to watch my goalkeepers closely, and he's always one on my radar. Ramsdale, maybe he's got an agenda, I don't know, but he's always fun to watch.
No, you have made me kind of keep an eye out for that. I do think, I'll say it really quickly just before we finish. I do think that once Pope's fit from his groin injury, I think he comes straight back in.
Yeah,
I think
right decision. I think he's a much better goalkeeper.
That will absolutely happen. Boys, we've gone longer than we anticipated. Massive thanks to everyone on the panel. Mike, brilliant debut on the panel. Great to have you on. Make sure everyone goes and subscribes to him at the Unholy Trinity podcast, Everton podcast, should I say. Brilliant to speak to as always, Mike. Wolfie, Forest Fans TV. Go and give Wolfie subscribe. And of course, the Villa Pop Pod with Rich as well. And obviously Dan United, who is live. Go and check him out. He's doing a live as well on Dan United too. Of course, Loading Mag NUFC. Get those likes up before we finish. And people, we are out of here. Thank you very much for your time. We'll be back next week. Speak to you soon.
All night, get you wide up beside and tell me side to side. You can say, JC, you're too much for me. I am a little bit of loneliness, a little bit of disregard, handful of complaints, but I can't help the fact that everyone can see these scars. I am what I want you to want, what I want you to feel, and it's like no matter what I do, I can't convince you to just believe this is real. So let go, watching you turn your back, you always do. Face away and pretend that I'm not